I've been on a bit of a cozy game kick lately, so today I've got 7 cozy games on the Nintendo Switch 2 that you should definitely give a try. Now, these range from newer games or older games that were ported to the Nintendo Switch 2, and even some older Switch games that I still find incredibly enjoyable. So there's a little something for everybody, whether you're a longtime Switch owner or you just got into the Switch ecosystem with the Switch 2. So let's get into it. First and foremost, I have Guardians of Azuma, and I picked this game up on a whim. I recently was told by a handful of people that if you like Fantasy Life I, you'll like Guardians of Azuma, and I do like Fantasy Life I, so I picked this up. I also wanted to get this game simply because it's a full game on the cartridge. There's no key card or anything like that, no download, so I wanted to support that. So I picked the game up based on those recommendations, and I am very happy with that decision. This game is a lot of fun. It has this feudal Japan setting and this fantasy storyline that's really interesting and honestly very well written. There are some really funny bits in here and they're voice acted, so it's really enjoyable in that sense. But this game is just really fun as far as cozy games go, because it not only has the cozy aspect of the village building and what have you, but it also has some combat. So there's a little bit of different variety that you can get from the gameplay of this particular game. It starts you off in this spring village and you find yourself taking over as the chief. You are going out and you are bringing life back to the village and bringing more people in to help grow crops, run stores, things of that nature. And you do so by, one, leveling up your town by adding more farm fields, adding more buildings, things of that nature, but also by venturing out into the wilds and exploring, taking down enemies. And some people have actually been transformed into monsters, and by defeating those monsters, you'll gain additional villagers that can be added to your village. And this is a fun little system of going back and forth between village management and exploration, and I like this a lot. But the other thing I like about the village building aspect of this game is the fact that this game doesn't require you specifically to manage everything in the village. You can assign villagers that you bring in by defeating monsters and bringing more villagers in. You can assign them to roles. So you can assign people to farming, you can assign them to chop lumber, you can assign them to mine, to gather you resources and increase the income in your village. And I think this is a really fun system because different villagers have different perks that make them better at different tasks. So while you, yes, can still manage most of the things in town, like farming and things of that nature, you don't have to, which I think is a fun little aspect that separates this game from a lot of others in the genre. Now, this game also does have some sort of bond system with the other NPCs in the game, so you can raise your friendship level with the main characters of the game, and it appears that there will be some sort of relationship feature once I get a little farther in. And because just based on the interactions that I'm seeing, some characters have hearts the higher you level them up, while other characters don't have hearts. So it seems like certain characters there will be some opportunity for potential friendship or relationship details later in the game, and I'm curious to see how that actually develops. But this game just has a ton packed into it, and there are 3 other villages outside of the Spring Village that you can actually venture to. As you progress through the story, you'll travel to other seasonal based villages, and you'll be able to build those up as well, while also traveling to other combat oriented areas on the giant dragon that is your ally in this game. So honestly, there's a lot to unpack in this game, and there's a lot of content at your disposal. So this one is one that, while I'm still fairly fresh into, I am really enjoying on the Nintendo Switch 2. Next up, I have... Hey everybody, Future Kneeckoh here. I wanted to add an 8th game to this particular list because I was sent a review code for it after I had already recorded and edited this one, and we were going to talk about discounting. Now, I won't spend too much time on discounting because I literally just reviewed it the other day, so you can check that video out if you want to know more, but I had to include it on this list. I couldn't make a cozy game list without this game. I'm hooked. So in Discounty, you move to the town of Blomkest to help your aunt open up a supermarket called Discounty where everything is on sale. The game has a fantastic art style, the music is great, and the characters are all so colorful, each with their own unique personalities and genuinely funny dialogue that I found myself laughing at constantly. And they say a ton of things that really just help build this world and make it feel more alive by calling out random factoids about different businesses and stuff that are actually occurring within the world of this game, which just makes things super interesting. It makes the world feel truly alive. This game runs on a day-to-day schedule. The clock does tick as you're playing, and your main task that you're going to be doing each day is running the grocery store Discounty. And this can be broken down into a handful of different steps, that being unloading trucks with new product for you, also restocking stuff that is in your store, running the cash register, and then also reordering products for the following day. And you're going to repeat this cycle over and over. And honestly, it sounds tedious, but it's really fun and addictive. I really enjoy this little mini game of running the store. They speed up the clock while you're running the store, so that way it doesn't take forever. It doesn't take a ton of time up to actually go through a day of running discounting, but it just feels so good. And the story that they're taking you through each day and the interactions that you have with the different characters is genuinely so interesting. I find myself more invested in the story and just enjoy the little side tidbit of running the store as kind of a mini game compared to the meat and potatoes that I am super interested in. There's just so much going on in this town, and there's some secrets that you'll uncover along the way. There's some shady stuff going on in the background that you're trying to learn more about. It's genuinely very interesting. I really like what's going on, and the mysteries in this town of Blomkest are just, I want to know what's going on. I want to know what secrets this town has and what citizens know about it. Which ones are the ones that are in on the secrets. And as I play, I continue to learn more, and it's just super addicting in that way. So I wanted to highlight this game really quick for you guys and add it into this video because this is one you definitely want to check out. Next up, I have Tales of the Shire, the Lord of the Rings Hobbit life sim game that I can't get enough of. I'm a huge fan of Lord of the Rings, and I think this game is a blast. It's very similar to other life sim games like Animal Crossing, where you're going to be foraging and fishing and doing things of that nature, decorating your house, all that fun stuff. But really what I find to be the highlight of this game is the cooking mini game. I really like the cooking mini game in Tales of the Shire because if you haven't watched the movies, hobbits really like to eat. They have multiple meals a day, whether it be first breakfast, second breakfast, supper, dinner, 11sies, like there's tons of different meals that they eat all throughout the day. So the cooking mini game being the best part is such a highlight for that. It really just hits the right chord as far as fans of Lord of the Rings. They know how hobbits are and they know this makes sense. And you'll share these meals with your friends. You'll share them with other villagers in the town that you live in, and you will raise your friendship with them, giving you new recipes and additional furniture and things of that nature, expanding the village, opening up new locations you didn't have access to, which is just a really fun little thing that you do on your daily task. You just have a meal with a couple people, and that is a really fun thing in my opinion. This game does also feature seasons, so as you progress through the in-game day cycles, the seasons will change, which can change things that you can forage and things of that nature. The story is also really well written in this game, and I have to say that the fact that it isn't voice acted is a bit of a disappointment because the characters that you encounter are so bright and colorful, and if they were voice acted, it would just take them to another level. And I really wish this game was voice acted for that reason, but it's not. As far as performance goes, I played this on the Nintendo Switch 2, not the Nintendo Switch, and the game is running at 60 frames per second. However, it's a little muddy. It's a little muddy, I have to admit. It doesn't look as good as it does on other platforms. However, the gameplay experience is smooth, and overall, it's a bright and colorful world for you to explore, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. I have like 12 to 15 hours on this game, and I'm just really enjoying my time with it. I'm going to continue enjoying my time with it. I'm keen to see what the rest of the story looks like, what the other seasons bring, and I'm just enjoying myself. It's not one that I think I'll play as much as some others on this particular list, but it's one that I can see myself putting 30 to 50 hours into and then setting aside. Next up, I have The Wandering Village, and I talked about this game a while ago on the Nintendo Switch. This is a really fun, cozy game. Basically, takes place in a world long since civilization has kind of fallen, and there are toxic fumes on the ground and people are struggling to survive. However, this particular group of wanderers discovers this creature called an Anbu. It's basically a giant dinosaur, and they decide to work with the Anbu. They take care of the Anbu, and the Anbu lets them build a village on its back. So it's a really fun balancing game where not only are you building a village up and gathering resources, doing all that stuff, you also have to manage your Anbu with its hunger, whether it's tired or not, which direction in the world you want it to walk to, which changes which environments your village is located in. So it's a shifting game where constantly you are like, okay, now I'm in a desert biome because that's where my Anbu walked, versus previously I was in a forest biome. So you have to change what kind of crops you're growing and things of that nature. And due to all of this change, there's just this really fun balancing game, and one that I enjoy so much. It's really fun. There's a handful of different game modes that you could do that can increase the difficulty or make the game easier. So you have a lot of different ways to play this particular game. And I personally, I'm a big fan of dinosaurs. So riding on the back of this giant dinosaur, building that village and just managing, taking care of it, it just is very fun to me personally. And it's definitely a game I recommend you check out. Next up is a platformer, one that you don't typically expect to see on a cozy game list, but Misc: A Tiny Tale fits the cozy vibe perfectly. This takes place in a world where humans have long since been gone, and the world is inhabited by these tiny robots. The main characters, Buddy and Bag Boy, go out on an adventure after a big explosion happens, destroying the gates at each village, and they set out to collect the golden cogs and restore the gates at each village and continue progressing through the world, encountering a bunch of delightful and pleasant little robots along their journey, each with their own issues that they're dealing with. It's really a heartwarming story about acceptance and just being kind to one another. It's just a really well done story. I played this game all the way through. I 100% this game. It is a really nice treat. The environments are very pretty. It feels kind of like a Super Mario 64 world where it's instance based. You can't really explore outside of that individual world, but the game reminds me a lot of that, where you're going out, you're collecting the cogs, which remind me a lot of stars or moons in Mario games. It's just, it hits the right chords as far as the platforming genre goes, but also as far as the story goes. There were some moments in this game that I just was not anticipating from a story perspective, and it makes you feel things that you weren't expecting to feel in a game like this. And it just really is so well done as far as the environments, to the characters, to the story. It's just a really nice treat of a game. And it's very quick. I played it in, I think, about 6 to 8 hours, and I 100% the game, like I said. Really enjoyable experience. Very, very solid. The next one I can't put down. This is like my favorite Switch 2 game that I've played, and that's Fantasy Life I. This game has just so much content packed into it. I really can't get over how much is in this particular game. I mean, there's just so much happening all over the place. So the game is set in this fantasy world, and you start in the present day where you're heading to this island to discover some new secrets as part of an archaeological team. And when you get to the island, the dragon, that skeleton that you're using to find this island, comes to life and takes you back to the past, where there's a thriving civilization at this particular island. And while you're there, you begin picking up what is called lives. Lives are skills in this game, and the lives are basically just different tasks that you can complete, whether it be combat-oriented lives like Magician or Paladin, or whether it be gathering lives like woodcutting or fishing, or it could even be crafting lives to build new gear for yourself. So you could do like blacksmithing or carpentry, like things of that nature. And each of these lives interact with each other in different ways. For example, if you're a tailor, it will help your magician skill because you're able to build yourself new armor for the magician to wear. Like it works together so seamlessly. And because there are 14 different lives in this game, there's a lot of content to unpack and level up, and each of these different lives has their own individual skill trees, meaning there is value to leveling up each of them to continue getting more bonuses along the way. It's just awesome. I'm hooked on this game, and the story is really well done. It's not voice acted, but the dialogue that is there is very funny and very engaging. I do enjoy the story that's unfolding, and most of the story is taking place in the past, and eventually as you progress through the story, you go back and forth between the past and the present. But alternatively, there is a third location, and this is this alternate dimension, like big open world area. There's just tasks, there's like random tasks that you can complete that are challenges. Like there's big enemies in certain area, you complete them and then you get rewards, or there's a woodcutting challenge in certain area. And by doing all of this, you can level up each individual section of this open world location, increasing the tiers, adding more additional difficulty levels in each of the locations, giving you just even more stuff to do. On top of this, there is also multiplayer in this game, which is crossplay with the Switch 1 version of the game. And it's just, you could go on skilling missions, so you can chop trees together or mine together, and you can go on combat missions and go through random dungeons and things of that. There's just content everywhere. And we haven't even touched on the coziest aspect of this game, which is the village builder. And there is one in this particular game where you have a location in the present day where you are building up this little town, and you are giving your citizens or your allies houses to live in and building up the decorations and getting more stuff. And just, it feels like Animal Crossing in this part of the game, where you're just decorating everything, changing the landscape, terraforming, doing all of that stuff to make it your own. And it feels, like I said, very, very Animal Crossing in that way. So between the leveling up your lives, the different locations that you can visit, the story, the cozy life sim area that you get at your present day location, this game has so much content in it. I love it. I cannot stop playing this game. It genuinely is my favorite game right now on the Nintendo Switch 2. I think this game is freaking awesome, and it's one that I can't recommend enough to anybody that is into cozy games, but also people that are into RPGs, because it is also an RPG. So it covers both bases, and for me, as my type of gaming, it is perfect in that regard, because I love both of those things. So it's a perfect combination of the things I enjoy in gaming, and I love it for that. So genuinely, if there's any game on this list that I super recommend, it's Fantasy Life I. I cannot get enough of this particular game. Next up on the list, we have a super weird cozy game, because I was not expecting this game to feel as cozy as it does. But it is. There's no other way to describe this game other than cozy, and that's Chillin By The Fire. Now, this game was announced during the Nintendo Partner Showcase, and this game, I feel like, got torn apart by a lot of people that viewed it, because they're like, oh, all you're doing is building fires. And yes, that's pretty much the premise of the game, but for me personally, I enjoy doing that in real life. I love getting friends together or sitting out with the wife and building up a fire, so that way we can all just hang out and enjoy ourselves. And that's kind of what this game is, and I found it to be so cozy because it's really one of those games where there's not a ton happening on screen, so you can turn on a movie, you can turn on a stream, you can just hang out with somebody else in the room and chat while you're building up these fires. And the way you level up the fires to unlock the new areas, and the additional difficulty that you get by unlocking new areas with different weather conditions, leads to a really fun experience that never really gets frustrating, just more satisfying as you begin to build the fires up in those more difficult terrains like the winter storm. It's just a game that shocked me at how much I enjoyed. I literally played through every stage in one night. Now, I didn't get all the achievements in this game in one night, but I was able to unlock all of the locations that I can currently visit in the game in one night. And I have to say, I really enjoy it. It's just a game that I was not anticipating liking as much as I do, but it's just, it's weird. It's really weird, because I think it just because I translated from I enjoy building fires in real life and having fires to being able to do that in the video game inside. And this game has multiplayer, so if you wanted to play with friends, you can use the Switch 2 cameras, so that way you can see each other's faces. There's also additional game modes here where you can make the difficulty harder in a survival mode, or play with friends, and there's 4 fire pits and you can try and build the biggest fire. There's just a lot in this game that it can take up a lot of time without you realizing it. Like, I played this game for like 4 hours the first night I played it, and I didn't even realize that much time had passed. I just was vibing and having a good time. So it really does have that cozy scenario that I really enjoy. I really think this game is overlooked by a lot of people, and I think you should definitely give it a fair shake. The final game on this list is an oldie but a goodie, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons. Now, the reason I added Animal Crossing to this list is, like I said at the top of the video, there are some people that are just now getting into the Switch ecosystem on the Nintendo Switch 2, so they never played Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I want to say that this game is still awesome. I recently hopped back into Animal Crossing New Horizons for my Tales of the Shire video, and I was comparing the two games, talking about the cozy aspects of each game, and I kind of got rehooked on Animal Crossing. I started playing again. I've been hopping in and playing pretty much daily, talking to my villagers, you know, just doing my daily tasks in Animal Crossing. And it's not like when I first got Animal Crossing and I was playing it like all day, every day. I'm just hopping in for like maybe an hour or so a day and just, you know, doing my daily tasks and then hopping out. But it's still a game that just has so much fun packed into it, building up your little village, and the fact that it runs on an actual day-night calendar is just different from a lot of other chill cozy games of this nature. There's just so much content here, and I personally never played the expansion pack for Animal Crossing New Horizons, where you go and you become like a vacation home decorator in Animal Crossing. So I actually have access to that now. I upgraded my NSO before the Switch 2 came out, so I got that for free. So I'm keen to hop back in and see what that part of the game is like, because that's one of the best parts of Animal Crossing, is decorating your home and your village and getting everything exactly how you like it. So for me personally, this sounds like a really cool expansion that I just never got into in Animal Crossing. So there's a whole other side of the game that I haven't touched yet, and I'm very excited to see what that side of the game has to offer me. So Animal Crossing, while being an older game, if you are new to the Nintendo Switch ecosystem, is one that you should definitely pick up. It is incredibly solid. There's no significant change in regards to how it plays on the Nintendo Switch 2 versus how it played on the Switch 1. I would say the only real thing that I noticed in my time playing it is that the load times are much faster on the Switch 2 versus the Switch 1 version. So that's just something to note. But all in all, I don't think there's a ton that really separates it between the two platforms. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. Those are the cozy games that I have been playing on the Nintendo Switch 2 right now. There are some other great cozy games out there, so if I didn't mention one that you guys are enjoying, and I know a couple new ones just came out from the previous indie showcase, let me know in the comments below. But I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe, because it helps me out, helps the channel out, and helps the video out immensely. But until next time, peace.